Hello dear friends, this is your personal English coach Divyam here, and in this video I'm going to explain a wonderful poem written by Sarojini Naidu. It's called The Gift of India. But before we proceed with understanding the poem, we should know everything about the person who has written it. Because somewhere or the other, the poem reflects what the poet has been through. So let's understand who is Sarojini Naidu, where she comes from, and everything about her background. So Sarojini Naidu, do you know when she was born? She was born on 13 Feb 1879, so it's long back. And she died on 2nd March 1949. And who was she? She was an activist of Indian independence and a poet who earned the title rightfully. Do you know what is Sarojini Naidu called? She was called, and she is called, Nightingale of India. Where was she born? She was born in a Bengali family. She was a Hindu, and she was born in Hyderabad. About her education, she was educated in Chennai, London and Cambridge. She married to Dr. Govindarajulu Naidu, and they settled down in Hyderabad itself. About her various activities, well, she participated in Indian nationalist movement, and after that she became a hardcore follower of none other than Mahatma Gandhi and fought for the attainment of Purna Swaraj, that is independence. She became the president of Indian National Congress and was later appointed as governor of United Provinces, which is called Uttar Pradesh right now. Do you know what? She was the first woman governor of Republic of India, and she was a very famous poet. She is a very famous poet. So on what subjects, what are the different topics she writes poems about? She writes about children, she writes about nature, patriotism, love and death. And do you know one more thing? She also has written a poet about praising of Muslim figures like Imam Hussein in the time where Muslim-Hindu tensions were very high. This is before independence. This is before Indian independence. Issues regarding the split of India into a Muslim country and a Hindu country had already begun during her times, and she had got an intercaste and inter-regional marriage in the time where this was uncommon. She had only one goal in her life: to make sure that Indian people live as Indians and not as Hindus, not as Muslims, not of any other caste. Her only goal was to make sure that Indian people live united. Having understood the background of Sarojini Naidu, let me tell you something more about this poem. This poem is divided into 4 stanzas. Each stanza has 6 lines in it. If we carefully read the poem, and if you have carefully read the poem, you would have found that the first 2 lines makes the foundation of the remaining lines. The lines in the middle, well, they add to the idea of the first 2 lines, and the last 2 lines, they conclude the idea. And what about the rhyming scheme? Well, the rhyming scheme is AABBCC, which means withhold rhymes with gold, west with breast, womb with doom, graves, waves, sands, hands, chance, friends. Alright, having understood the background of the poet and the architecture of the poem, we should now get into the poem itself. So let's begin. Let's start with the first 2 lines. Is there aught you need that my hands withhold, rich gifts of raiment or grain or gold? So who is speaking these lines at the first place? It is Mother India. Now this is a personification. India is given the form of a person, a feminine form, which is Mother India, and she is telling someone. Who is she addressing to? She is addressing to the foreign lands. She's asking a question: is there anything else that I should give you? I have already given you raiment, which is nothing but clothes. I have given you food. I have given you gold, which means India had so many things to export during Sarojini Naidu's times and even now. India exports clothes, India exports a lot of food and a lot of valuable things like gold. So, therefore, it's asking the other people of other countries, is there anything else that I should give you? I'm already giving you so much. Then she says, look, I have flung to the east and west priceless treasures torn from my breast. My breast is nothing but the land itself, the Indian land. Priceless treasures. There are so many invaluable things which were found only in India. So India says, I have exported everything that I had, all the commodities that I had. Where? To the east and west, which means to different countries, but to make it a little poetic, Sarojini Naidu has mentioned east and west. So eastern countries as well as western countries of India. So priceless commodities torn from the land, so which means extracted from the land. And then she says, and yielded the sons of my stricken womb to the drumbeats of duty, the sabres of doom. Well, these lines are absolutely very deep. Meanings of difficult words are on the right side. So yielded means given. Stricken. Now you use stricken when you are seriously affected by an undesirable condition or unpleasant feeling. Womb, you already know, it's a place from where a woman gives birth. So Mother India has already asked one question, and to add to that, she is asking one more thing. She says, I have not only given you commodities, priceless things, invaluable things which you can never find anywhere else, but soldiers of my country. So where it says womb, it's the country itself. Yielded means given. So Mother India is telling other countries that I've given you my soldiers. Now I have to tell you the history of these lines. During the times of Sarojini Naidu, World War I took place, and not only that, India was in the clutches of British. So many of the Indian soldiers were part of British army, and British sent our people to lots of places across the world to make sure that they fight. And so Mother India asks, I have given you my soldiers. Now she has used the word stricken because obviously nobody likes battles, nobody likes to fight, and that too for a foreign land. So she says stricken womb to the drumbeats of duty. Now obviously if you are a soldier and if you get an order to serve somewhere else, you have to follow the orders. So drumbeats of duty indicates orders from the soldiers' bosses. To the sabres of doom. Now sabres is like a sword, sword of doom. Doom is nothing but death, destruction. The sword of destruction, which means battles, which means wars. So the first stanza is about questions that Mother India is asking foreign countries. To sum it up all, the question is, I have given you so many things. What more do you want? Right. Moving on to the second stanza. Gathered like pearls in their alien graves, silent they sleep by Persian waves. Now, second stanza typically shows or exhibits the sight of Indian soldiers who are dead in the foreign lands. So how does it look when it is watched by a person far away? A person is watching the place where Indian soldiers are dead. So how does it look? It looks as if there are some pearls on the alien graves. So their alien means foreign lands. On the foreign lands there are pearls. Now here Sarojini Naidu has used some specific words to indicate value. Pearls, as you know, they are priceless, they are invaluable, found at the bottom of the sea, right? So for India, the soldiers are absolutely very valuable, right? And when they are dead, it would look as if they are dead in the foreign land. They look like pearls who are dead in the foreign land. They sleep silently by Persian waves. Now see, all of these words, Persian waves, Egyptian sands, these indicates foreign land where our Indian soldiers fought their battles. And they're sleeping by the waves, which means they are dead in another foreign land, scattered like bullets on Egyptian sands. Shells is nothing but bullets. So they might have been to Egypt to fight battles, and they are scattered on the land after their death. They're scattered here and there. Their bodies are lying here and there. They lie with a pale brows and brave broken hands. So again, how do the dead bodies look like? They are pale. So what happens after a person is dead? The body turns cold, the body turns yellow. It starts to lose the rigor, the energy, and it looks pale. So not only brows, which means eyebrows, but the whole face, the whole body looks pale. Sarojini Naidu has used brave because they are soldiers. They were brave before they died. They look strong and healthy. So even when they are dead, and if somebody looks at the body, one can easily say that the hands are strong, but they're broken, unfortunately, because of being a victim of shells and bombings and all of the artillery. They are strewn like blossoms mown down by chance. Another deep line here. What is the meaning of strewn? Well, strewn means untidily scattered. So the dead bodies are untidily scattered, and this occurrence is compared to that with blossoms. Blossoms are the flowers which convert into fruits. So Sarojini Naidu again has used another word which indicates something that is very valuable. Now that is blossom. So soldiers, Indian soldiers, are very much valuable for India, but they are dead in a foreign land. When they are dead, their bodies are scattered, and this occurrence is compared to that of mowing down of blossom flowers in a garden. All right, so there you must have seen grass cutters in foreign lands. In foreign lands, they have their houses and they have a lawn, they have a garden, and they cut grasses on a regular basis. And when they do that, the grass is scattered throughout the garden. So that's what the Indian soldiers look like when they have fought a battle and they are dead. By chance is important here. By chance, well, the soldiers never wanted to die, but they had to face death by chance. So therefore the poet has smartly used these words. On the blood-brown meadows of Flanders and France, again to create a poetic effect. Well, Flanders is name of the place, and France you already know, obviously. Blood-brown meadows, well, it is completely bloodshed, and the blood has been there on the meadows, on the grasslands of various foreign places. Well, so what is the second stanza all about? Second stanza is all about the sight of soldiers after the battle, the sight of soldiers who are dead, whose bodies have been scattered across the foreign lands. They gave up their lives fighting in the foreign lands. So this is what Mother India as a person feels when she sees those dead bodies. Moving on to the third stanza. Can you measure the grief of tears I weep? So Mother India is asking the foreign lands and the people, do you have any idea how much I cry looking at the sight of my dead soldiers? Do you feel the pain I feel, or compass the woe of the watch I keep? The watch I keep means when I see my people dead on your lands. Do you do you compass, means do you have any measurement of the woe or suffering I feel when I watch them dead, when I see that they are lying like that, scattered like pearls, or the pride that thrills through my heart's despair? So there's a contradiction here. My heart's despair. So Mother India's heart is sad, is in despair. Why? Because the soldiers have died. But at the same time, Mother India is very much proud of the fact that the soldiers fought the battles and must have won, let's assume that, and therefore Mother India is proud, but there is sadness in her heart as well because they are dead. And the hope that comforts the anguish of prayer. Well, who's praying here? Well, it's the mothers of the soldier who went abroad to fight. So what do the Indian mothers do while they are fighting on the foreign lands? They pray, they hope that their sons come back safe. So Mother India is asking the foreign countries and its people that, do you understand the hope that Indian mothers have when they pray in sadness for their sons, for their soldiers as sons to return? And the far sad glorious vision I see of the torn red banners of victory. So Mother India is telling foreign countries, do you feel the pain I feel when I see my soldiers dead? Do you understand that the vision I have, that the vision Mother India has when she sees the soldiers dead is sad, is very sad, although it might be glorious. So Mother India is trying to tell the foreign countries that although for you it must be glorious, but for me it's a sad vision of the torn red banners of victory. Well, for Mother India it's useless. All the battle and all the victories is useless because she has lost soldiers. So Mother India is trying to ask constantly to the foreign lands if they understand this sadness. When the terror and tumult of hate shall cease. So this is the final stanza. It says, when the terror and tumult is the loud and confused noise, one caused by a large mass of people. So in short, this line represents after the battle. So what happens after the war or the battle? When the terror and tumult of hate shall cease, shall stop, which means when there will be peace after war, which means the terror and tumult of hate which has created the war shall end and there will be peace. After that, what will happen? Life will be refashioned on the anvils of peace. So life will go on, and gradually with time it will become normal, but with many drastic new changes. And your love shall offer memorial thanks, which means Mother India is telling the foreign countries and the people in it that your people will pay respect, will pay tribute to our dead soldiers who fought in the war and the comrades of various ranks who gave up their life for your country. So it says, to the comrades who fought in your dauntless ranks. The meaning of dauntless is showing fearlessness and determination. So the comrades who are fearless, the soldiers who are fearless, who fought for your country, you will be paying respect to all those people. And final lines, and you honor the deeds of the deathless ones, which means they will honor the deeds, the actions of all the soldiers. And it says deathless, which means who can never be forgotten. So people will remember all the soldiers and they will be paid respect and they'll never be forgotten. And finally, remember the blood of my martyred sons. So the poet says, When such a time of peace comes, when everything's back to normal, when the life has refashioned, the speaker asks that the blood of her martyred soldiers and sons be remembered as well, that they be honored as well. So the speaker wants the people of the foreign lands to remember all the sacrifices that their soldiers did. And if you observe carefully, it says anvils of peace. Anvil is again a tool which indicates the process of getting life back to normal. And the poet has mentioned anvils because it might take a long time after the war for the life to become normal. It comments on the after effects of wars in general. So friends, as we know, Sarojini Naidu writes lots and lots of poems, and some of them are based on patriotism. So this particular poem started as a celebration, as we already saw, and it celebrates India's contribution to the causes of others. But how did it end? Well, it ended up as a strong war poem which concentrated both on the evils of destruction war brings and the mourning, as well as courage, honor, recognition of all the heroes who are involved in it. As always, Sarojini Naidu's poem must have aroused a sense of pride and patriotism in your hearts, and also in the hearts of India's countrymen. Friends, I hope you've understood the poem. It's a pretty easy one. If not, do mention it in the comment section, and Professor DC will be there to solve all your doubts. I thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day ahead.